Holy shit, he actually showed up.
Wow, in uniform too.
Who
made it?
I was talking
Woody
about
called it.
We've been trying to get Woody on here for like 3 episodes now. Yeah, piece of shit. Welcome everybody to another Serious Airsoft podcast, episode 61. I think I'm not really sure where we're at because I don't pay that much attention.
I don't even know.
Tonight we've got our boy Woody back on. Thank God, after many trials and tribulations and a small child sacrifice, to talk about a variation of topics. We've actually got a set list for tonight. But before I get into it, we're joined tonight by my boy Carl.
What's up, guys?
Carl and Officer Haynes.
What up?
I don't know why I'm talking like this. And I'm Cole. Punk is working. He may drop in at some point and shake his wee-wee at us. I'm not really sure. But yeah, let's just get into it, man.
Wait a second. I want to know who in the intro who actually throws or was drinking the Corona.
That was Derek. That was Derek.
Seltza. The Seltza.
Didn't
you
it took like 3 or 4?
No, that was the second try. The second try, he got it to land on the stand. So
nice.
The question is, why was he drinking Corona Seltzer?
You know, I don't know.
That's
a good question.
Last time I checked, little girls drink that, or at least 21-year-old girls drink that. But hey, whatever.
You're acquainted with what the kids are drinking, Woody?
Well, I do have a daughter that just turned 21, so yes, I am actually well acquainted with what the younger females are drinking these days, and it's a lot of Trulies. It's a lot of what is those other ones? The seltzers, all the other shit that should be alcohol but really is not. It's watered down to whatever it is.
It's basically just a vodka soda.
Yeah.
So speaking of 2020 or 21, we're into 2021. If you got anything new that you're putting on this year, like, or any new kit, because I know like I've got a whole new loadout that I'm trying to do. I think Carl's got some new shit he's trying to pop off.
Yep.
You got anything that you're trying to?
That was really. We talked about it at what was that? Either Avalon. Yeah, Avalon. With Kevin.
Kev.
The boy.
Yeah, that's my first time meeting him, man. Seems like a super nice guy. Really enjoyed talking with him.
He's all right. Don't ever send him food, no matter how hard he asks.
Don't even talk to him about food because you'll just keep getting DMs forever.
I think so a couple things we got into this from last year going into this year. I don't know whether to call it last year or this year or whatever it was, because Airsoft didn't really start last year till the end of the year. So we had done Southern Front 2, then we did Broken Home, then we did Avalon, and then now we just did Iron Horse. But Source Tactical reached out to me along with some other people and asked to try out their ACSS, their Army Combat or Advanced Soldier System uniform. Pretty cool uniform. I mean, I don't have many faults for it. It's a lightweight material. It has Kevlar in it. It's got Dyneema in it. It's got.
Were those the pants that you were wearing?
The pants and the shirt. I had both the top and the bottom.
Was that the hooded top that they gave you, or was that?
No. That was. I actually found a Chinese-made multicam black hooded top for Avalon. That's what I was rocking at Avalon.
Gotcha. So who's Source Tactical? How'd you get in touch with them?
So Source Tactical reached out to me. They actually make all of the, so you guys probably all know them better for hydration systems. They probably make some of the best hydration systems out there. I've had one of their systems for a while, and I literally think they have a demonstration where they fill it up with water and they run over it with a truck and it still doesn't pop or burst or anything like that. So I got one of their bladders and one of their hoses probably back in 2015, and still use it today when I'm not using my ice plate from Core Performance. So I usually. I'm sorry.
I said they reach out to you or one of the 5 fake profiles. Corey, you missed this. I was trying to send him the link through Facebook, and I found with one search, 5 fake profiles, all with Woodcock's face that all said Woodcock Stone.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to pretend to have a face like that?
All with a suspicious amount of friends from the Republic of Congo.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, I've got I had to shut my Facebook profile down because I had quite a few women contacting me going, "Hey, I sent you that Amazon card. Are you not going to tell me you love me anymore?" And I'm like, I'm sorry, you got the wrong person.
That was the message I sent you.
Yeah, I have no doubt. But
so it's hit you up to try out some new pants. Do you like them?
Yeah. So they hit me up and just said, "Hey, man, we're looking for vets and other people that have some experience to send them this uniform. We'd like you to try it out and send us some feedback." And so it's part of the British Army's Virtus system. So Source Tactical is an Israeli company. They make a lot of products for the IDF. I at first I thought look, I don't have a lot of people reaching out to me to try their products, so I thought it was like a fake profile. I had to kind of confirm it and run it to ground. But no, they sent me a uniform, and it's a cool uniform. I sent them some. The only thing I had any problems with is I'd make a few personal changes, just small things, some pocket rearrangement, some sizing. For me, I'm a shorter guy, so having a short version of it would have been nice. But no, it was a great uniform, man. It's really lightweight. I played with it at Southern Front and Broken Home. Both were, Southern Front was pretty hot for Texas that time of year, and then Broken Home was still, even in October, was still pretty warm. So I sweated quite a bit in it, and it was light and it breathed, and yeah, I mean.
Does it have the ball vents? Because I know Corey won't shut about his UF Pro pants and the ball vents that go down.
Not the nut flaps, man. You got to have the nut flaps.
Yeah. So listen, I would love to have a pair of UF Pro. Everything I've heard about them, Robo talks about them all the time. Corey obviously is wanting to slob on UF Pro's knob, but I have no doubt that the UF Pro stuff is amazing. I would love to have a pair, but I've got 3 kids. One's in college. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. So yes, they do have I would say it's about an 8 to 10 inch long vertical zipper on both sides of the thighs. That when you unzip them, literally I could stand there and get a breeze going right through my junk area. And it was nice, man.
Really nice. With the smell. Well, part of my 2021 kit, which you actually saw because Kev was wearing a set of them at Avalon, is those Speakabee EPM pants, or EMP pants, which holy fuck, it's like I'm playing in joggers. Those are that's the most comfortable pair of pants I own. It's wild. They seem
a little high-waisted to me.
So they look that way, and that's just because of that padding they have going up the crotch zipper line or whatever, which is essentially there exactly for what it is, to protect your crotch. But they sent me the EMP pants, and they sent me basically their entire new like milsim oriented kit. I took it out to 878 Airsoft last weekend on Saturday and ran it and my new Fatco MCX, and I immediately fell in love with both products.
Great.
We're gonna try to do like an actual review of the deal, kind of like with me and Punk's spin on it. But that kit is incredible. Easily one of the most functional, versatile things that I've worn, just specifically because it's made for Airsoft and it's not real steel kit being converted, or it's not bastardized paintball kit. It's something that was like made and has little weird idiosyncrasies and odd little like niches in it for Airsoft. But the other cool thing is every single piece of that kit can come apart and slap into my JPC.
That's cool.
Wild.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to be. That and that Fatco MCX. It's nice to have mags that work in my gun.
Yeah.
Cool Rock.
Well, we all know that you have loved the PTS for so long, and you've tried to get your PTS to work for so long.
PTW, they work. So
PTW, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Took 5 goddamn years to break in, and then speaking of PTS, none of the PTS mags work until fucking 2 years in. So I'm just fighting tooth and nail. But Carl is signaling me that we should probably talk about stuff that's given to us by our sponsors.
Yes.
So
got to take care of the business.
Responsible for the shit show, as you can see on the nice little scrolling tab down below, KWA Airsoft, a tried and true staple in the airsoft community. The KWA QRF Mod 3 is out now with the KWA LM4D gas blowback system coming out here soon-ish. I don't know the exact launch date of that, but you also need to keep a lookout for what I think is one of the coolest things I've seen in airsoft in a while, which is the Mod 3 Special Edition, which comes with a wooden stock and looks like a fucking Tommy gun. It's dope. Next on the list is Enola Gay. Everybody knows who EG is. Everybody uses their shit. Bangers, smoke, clothing, any textile products. Use ASAP 15 to get 15% off your entire purchase. So now that it's 2021 and you can go to events again, bulk order that shit, get 15% off, and let everybody split it up. And then last but not least, Overwatch Tactics. They make games. They make some of the most fun games that I've been to in a long time. They use props to diversify gameplay and different styles, but it's a nice little mix between what I like to call Milsim light and weekend games. They're not trying too hard. Everybody's just out there to have a good time. It's definitely got its place in Airsoft. I recommend you check out Overwatch Tactics now. Carl, you look like you want to say something.
Nope, you did good. You did very good.
Thank you. I got to chill out whenever Punk's not here. So 2021, we're going to get an Iron Horse here in a second, because that's going to be the main bulk of this.
Yeah.
But what's on the docket for 2021 for you, gameplay wise?
Yeah, I think right now, we're committed for Stormfire from Real Sim, Luke Haynes and his crew. I'm looking forward to that. It's it's touted as a 44-hour Milsim event. And Luke hit us up a while back, and I couldn't make it to one of their previous games, but
they're actually on the show February 12th.
What's that?
They're going to be on the show February 12th to talk about the game too.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great game. That game's happening April 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'm going to be the XO for the Scovian Special Forces.
Nice
guys. So
I'll be there.
New this year is, and then Soto will be the Will Soto from Overwatch Tactics will be the CO, and then we've got a bunch of great Overwatch Tactics guys being the squad leaders, and they've actually are kind of trying out this new SNOT, which is the sniper observation team. So that's going to be something new to them, and they're working through that process to see how they want that to go. So, most people would probably, liken those to a sniper recon team or scout reconnaissance team or whatever, sniper recon team. So, no, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. And then we're going to hit up probably a lot of the AMS events. Look, AMS is always going to be our, look, they gave Stone his opportunity to play at a very young age. So much love to AMS. We'll hit probably, all the typical ones: Copperhead, Broken Home, Black Sight, which they do have Black Sight back in the mix this year, which is going to be awesome. If you didn't make it out to the first Black Sight, they've been trying to get that thing back for 2 years now, and it's an amazing AO. Barracks like you've never seen. I've never seen a barracks set up like that, and I can't even describe it. It's basically like a 5 or 6 story building with a drive-through underneath, where like you would literally park underneath the barracks, but yet everything is in the barracks, self-contained. Like they have a dining room, like a chow hall, and they have a place to cook food and all that. Is really a weird setup. I've never seen anything.
Where is Black Site 2 located?
Antioch, like Antioch, Georgia, or something like that, or Mississippi. I can't remember exactly. I think we passed by it going to Iron Horse, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, that one's one I definitely want to try to hit this year if I can.
Yeah. I think Black Site is definitely a go-to. Avalon, we'll hit Avalon like we always have. I still think it's one of my funnest games, or Stone and I's funnest games to play. They just bring such great props. The Renaissance Festival is is a great AO to be at. It's a fun game. But we'll do, like I said, Copperhead, Broken Home, Black Sight, Reindeer Games if that goes down at Hood. So the typical AMS schedule as much as we can, and then Overwatch and Real Sim. So
sweet.
And maybe a TCA game. If we can get to a TCA game, that would be great. I'd love to get out there with Sal and those guys again.
Yeah, and then the majority of us should be at Copperhead because Corey is still cracking off the short film.
Yes. Yep.
Looking forward to that. So yeah, I think look, 2021, we all were hoping for something better coming out of 2020. Obviously, 2021 is the first couple days in, half a month in, where it still looks like a shit show. But hopefully for Airsoft, I'm staying very positive about it, and I hope to see good things come of this year for Airsoft.
I think it's going to grow a lot with how expensive real shooting is becoming. Like, I think a lot more people are going to get into Airsoft this year. So it should be interesting.
Right. I think we're going to see a direct correlation to that, which actually.
Yeah, I think any telltale sign of that would be, like Lucas Botkin from Trex Arms showing up at Iron Horse.
Yep.
And he actually, I think he did a good job plugging the Airsoft hobby.
So I want to touch on that because I've got an actual topic geared towards like him showing up and kind of the repercussions of that. But how was Iron Horse? I mean, the AO is incredible. I love going to that fucking place. I'm upset that I couldn't go this year, although I felt less bad when I saw how butt-ass cold it was.
Yeah, so look, it's a 13-hour drive for us. You guys know Stone. He doesn't say much. I think he said probably 5 words to me on the way out to Iron Horse. It's crazy that we have this nonverbal communication between the two of us. But, it always seems to know he knows what I'm thinking and I know what he's thinking. But, the drive was 13 hours. We got out there Thursday night. Cool thing was we didn't really have a place Thursday night. Josh McNeil and Dylan Friedrich's son, Moose, let us stay in their hotel room. So we got to drink a little bit with those guys and the Nemesis crew. So Fat Kid from Fatco Arms or Customs, and then his whole team. And then Friday, they had the typical vendor set up. I think the biggest complaint that anybody would have about Iron Horse was that the Guardian Center cracked down because of the weather. With it raining the night prior to Friday, a lot of the guys had to. So if you've been out to Guardian Center, it's a huge facility, right?
Yeah, so, massive.
There was a parking area that everybody could park in. Then you drove down a long road, and there was another parking area that the guys had to park there and then carry all their camping equipment into the camping area. And then they would have to walk back out, get in their car, and drive it back to the main parking area. So everything was done on Friday for chrono registration, everything. Everybody had to walk from the parking area all the way. There was only one gate down there, and you had to walk all the way down, all the way back up. Is it a big deal? No.
Yeah, I would say that's not even game related.
It had nothing to do with the game, and it had nothing to do with AMS. I mean, Guardian Center says you're going to do this, then you're going to do that, or you're not going to play there, right? And if you want to any hopes of going back next year, you got to follow the rules. They just didn't want people tearing up their grass and shit. So look, I totally respect that. So I mean, Amped was there, Amped Airsoft. They did a great job with their vendor tent as always. And then you had I never know how to pronounce them. SOUS
Salsa Optics or whatever.
Is it Sosa?
Salsa.
I think it's Sosa. Steve and those guys from Sosa were there. He played on both Friday or Saturday and Sunday. Look, I've not run their optics. I know one of the guys that we brought to a game bought one and loves it. And I'm really looking into their optics a lot heavier than I have in the past. And I think one of the things that I was really surprised about them is if you do buy an optic from them and it does get shot out, they just say, hey, email us, let us know what happened, and we'll replace it. And so for guys to come out of the mix like that with the level of quality of sights that they have and willing to replace stuff if it gets shot out by a BB, no questions asked, I was like pretty impressed.
No,
that is cool.
badass.
That is cool.
So even Steve said, look, if you go to a game, get a sight shot out on a Sunday, you show up in the next game and we're there, we'll exchange it on site. So I was like blown away by that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really reasonably priced too, from what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're for real steel and airsoft. So I was asking them about what some of the things they're doing for the future, and they are looking at even a smaller micro red dot that will fit some of the smaller subcompact pistols. So I just picked up a P365 XL at Christmas time for my new EDC, and was asking him about that, and he said, "Yeah, man, this thing will fit flush on the slide and everything." So looking forward to that.
Kate said.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Woody. Oh, I was gonna say, Kate said she got her sight shot out on Saturday, and they replaced it Sunday morning for her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good to see Milsom Kate there. Man, we got to see so many people. Sinister.
I must say, because nobody's seen each other for the most part for like a large scale event. Like Southern Front too, but like not for like a big game in a long time. But how was the actual gameplay? Like, were there any big takeaways? Was there anything you wish they'd have done different, or anything that did really well?
For me, the last time I'd been at Guardian Center was Iron Horse 1. I didn't get to make it out to Iron Horse 2 because of work. It looked completely different. I don't know what it was about it. I think they had painted a lot of the buildings. Not all of them were cinder block. And it just, I couldn't get a feel for it. Like, it didn't feel the same. Like, I remember I remember some of the fights we had in Iron Horse 1, but then like this one, I couldn't, like, I'm like, the whole time I was like, where am I at? They're like, there's the tunnel, right? But I couldn't seem to get then again, look, my back was not, I don't know if it was the cold weather or what. My back was pretty good. I don't know if I was focusing real well. I didn't play Sunday. Stone played. I went out and kind of walked around and just a little kind of admin on the field type work, but it took a lot out of me on Saturday. I was running. I felt like I was running way too much kit, and then on top of that, I was running the Crytac LMG, which I probably should have done. But I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood or something. But my back was really hurting, and
I mean, that happens. I've been to games before where I just like was not in the headspace.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the drive prior, but I mean, other than that, Saturday's game played out well. I think some of the other people said it was like every time they would move towards a fight where a fight was supposed to be going on, it was like the fight was already gone by the time they got there. So I don't know if it was like people were moving so fast. Bo and I talked about it, and it was like, I just told him, I said I couldn't get a feel for the field really. Like I couldn't tell where the fight was going down, and when we would get a call, by the time we got there, the fight had moved on already.
The way that AO is built, I feel like the firefights can be 100 yards from you, but it's like if they might as well be 5 miles away because the way the thing is laid out, which is awesome for what the facility is set up for. But I feel like when you're in airsoft fights, like just getting from point A to point B, that's just unmolested, is really difficult at that AO. And it makes it really cool too. So it's kind of a weird the coin.
Are the engagement distance like super short typically there?
No. It's almost like the buildings are spread out enough that like it's hard to make that jump to the next building. Like it's not like a Fort Hood, it's not like a Camp Shelby where you can almost jump from one building into another. I mean, like there are some buildings you can do that with, but I mean, like the main buildings. The other problem is now I think it was smart. They only made it to where you could get it up onto the second floor. You couldn't get onto the third floor or roof.
That's crucial.
I think it was the right thing. I think that was a problem at Iron Horse 2 and 1 where guys that get on the rooftop, or they get on the third story. And if you own certain buildings like Building 10 or
I think they
38 or whatever, you can control the battle space.
I think they started doing that at Iron Horse 2 because that was the one I went to, and they wouldn't let people go up to the third or fourth floor, which is perfect. And it's smart that they think of shit like that because you never dig guys out of there. But it like that AO is so large and it's so diverse and like the different style of buildings and the different layout that it creates like a really odd like battle movement, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I just again I just couldn't get a feel for it, man. Like it just was really tough for me. And I usually, I feel like I can read a battle space pretty well, but it seemed like a lot of people wanted to fight in the tunnel. We had a lot of people spend the entire 2 days in the tunnel.
Tunnel's cool.
Yeah,
it is cool.
It's very cool. The other thing that they had done this year, which they hadn't done in the past, was a lot of the windows had screens on them to keep the pigeons out.
People talk about that, yeah.
Windows. And so the screen size, when you look at it, was probably like inch squares, right? And so what I found was, our initial position was we went to Building 10. Me having a crew serve weapon, I went up on the second floor and I was to hold people down, any movements down. And the problem was you couldn't get any angles on anybody because the way the screen was set up, right? Unless you stuck your barrel all the way through it and out through a screen, you couldn't get an angle. So,
but you're still allowed to shoot through it, right?
Yeah. So actually, literally what I found was at one point I had, I run on our LMG, we just have like one of the old school one. I can't think what it is. The flash press we have has got like a kind of a T-cross on the front or a plus. The Diablo, the PDW Diablo, right?
Oh yeah.
I kept shoving that thing into the mesh, trying to shoot through it, and what I had found was I ended up packing like over 100 BBs from the flash suppressor all the way back. So like I'm sitting there going, this thing's not shooting, and I'm like thinking I had just fixed one of the we run
and you wonder why
1,500 round drum mag on that thing, and I'm like, I just fixed this thing because one of the automatic ones wasn't winding the BBs up in it. I'm like, I just fixed this. And so finally it took me getting back to the fob, and I'm like, why is it, I finally pulled it apart and I'm looking at it. I look up in I flip it over and I look down in it and I can see all these BBs all the way back up to the hop up. And I'm like, oh shit. So I flashed off the end.
That makes Zero roll his eyes as much as I do.
Literally probably 25 BBs were smashed into the flash suppressor. And then there was probably another 75 BBs in the barrel. So like when I turned it up after I took the flash pressure off and pulled the trigger, and the air pushed, literally it looked like and
like his gun threw up.
That answers my question. But so yeah, the screens made it tough, and the thing that made it tough for us on that second floor was Building 11 right next to us. On the second floor, all the windows had no screens on them. So every time you try to pop up, right, and you're going to shoot those guys, half your BBs are flying back at you from the screen, and they can just clip off a couple rounds at you really quick with no screen, and you're dead. So
to be clear, I didn't realize like these aren't like tight mesh like screen door screens. These are like 1 inch wide, like netting. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I was confused on that for a second, but
so it was like a wooden frame with this 1 inch by 1 inch square mesh.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Plastic mesh, but yet, even if you tried to back off, you'd have to start shooting, and then like some of the BBs would fly back at you, and you're like, all of a sudden there it is, there's the hole, and you get a few through, and then all of a sudden you move just a little bit, and it'd be gone, and you're hitting yourself with your own BBs again. So it made it really challenging. And Bo had gone through and he took some down and left some up. And in this case, on that particular floor, the next building over, all of them were gone and all of ours were up.
So there's only so much you can do in that case for sure.
Again, look, that's has nothing to do with AMS. That's range control.
People that go to these events need to understand stuff like that. Like if you've got a problem like this, I can almost guarantee you that they have nothing to do with it. And it's not something they have any control over. If you have a complaint about it, bring it up. Go talk to Bo. Go talk to McCaleb. Go talk to Cody. Go talk to one of the AMS. They'll listen. They'll take it into advisement. And they'll probably be able to explain to you like why they have to do it that way. Well, it's usually not.
Look, he even said it during the safety brief. I didn't after the safety brief was over, I completely forgot about it until we got up there. And I'm like looking out this window going, and I'm trying to get an angle on somebody. And I'm like,
actually listen to the safety briefs. I'll see you in them safety briefs. Oh man. But yeah,
the cup of magical juice.
How annoying was SD? Because there were 3 factions for that game, right?
Yeah, so you had UFS fighting. Imagine that, UFS fighting everybody else again, like always. So UFS fighting Cost in a platoon of SD guys, and of course they had some of our good buddies like Thornhill and his crew out of Kansas, and those guys are tough. Cade ran SD. He's a great tactician. And you had Virus running Cost. And no, they did a great job. I mean, Cost is doing a great job. Like from Southern Front on, they've just done really, really well. We ran with Cost during Southern Front, Broken Home, and had a great time running with those guys. I thought for sure I'd get shot in the back, but they all welcomed us in, and we had a great time with them. And again, it was one of those things where the reason we did that was I've always said, just Cole, and even Carl, we ran PSA in the past. We've ran Cost at 34-1, op 34-1, and we hadn't run Cost in a while. So I just felt like it was time to get over there and run with those guys again. I mean, we should not be afraid from event to event
to switch sides.
No, you gotta switch it up.
Be afraid to switch sides.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that I've said about the AMS games a lot. Is we've become so entrenched in who's on UFS and who's on Cost that I feel like we're just fighting a lot of times the same game, just in a different AO over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Plus, it's infinitely more fun to shoot against your friends, at least in my mindset. But I just like making different kits. Like this year, I've got my green kit is now squared away because I spent the few events I went to last year. I was a green team every time. I'm rebuilding my tan kit this year. I got a sniper deal that I'm doing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to switch it up. You got to go to different events. You've got to do different sides at the same events because a lot of the time that's all you need to do. Like if you love AMS games, but it's getting kind of stale for you, hop over to the other team.
Yeah. Yeah,
God forbid.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think guys need to see different types of leadership. They need to be running with different people. A lot of times I hear people go, "Oh, I don't want to go over there because I don't know anybody." Well, that's a problem. the airsoft hobby in a whole is small enough that if you can't run either team and not know somebody, there's a problem there, right? I mean, that's an issue. And so, but we went. The reason I was going to originally we were going to do SD at Iron Horse, but then when I saw the numbers, UFS seems to have really been struggling the last 2 or 3 games, so we went back over to UFS to kind of help even things out over there. So,
because everybody realized how hot M81 is. That shit looks fucking good.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, look. I grew up in M81 in the Army. That and DCU. So. M81 is one of my favorites. What's that?
I thought you grew up in Civil War uniforms.
Nothing like a wool uniform in the South in the summertime.
Right? So I guess we should probably touch on the main thing, and I'm sure the main thing that everyone tuned in wants to listen to was AMS had a special guest at Iron Horse 3, that being Lucas Botkin of Trex Arms fame. If you don't know who Lucas Botkin is, go look up Trex Arms on YouTube. You'll see a bunch of videos of a guy who's trying to look like Derek shoot a bunch of things really, really fast. He also manufactures kit, holsters. They do instructional videos on YouTube. But the big reason this has become such a talking point is he's kind of an outspoken voice in the 2A community. And he has been recently touting Airsoft as a training tool for real steel. This is something it's not anything new. It's not anything hasn't been brought up before, but I feel like both in the past and now he's brought up a better argument for it than anyone else has. He had that kid that he flew from Japan who had played with nothing but Airsoft, put a real Glock in his hand, and that kid crushed ass. He was good, man. He was fast, on point, and he showed these people that muscle memory is extremely important. He has a video out kind of talking about Iron Horse 3. I recommend you go check it out, even if Lucas makes your skin crawl, or if you've never heard of him before, go give it a shot. He makes a lot of really good points, and he talks a lot about how there's more to being prepared and more to Second Amendment real steel training than just shooting. There's kit. There's knowing what's comfortable. Like, can you? Yeah, you can go shoot at the range in your kit, but can you run all day in that kit?
Or 2 days?
Yeah. Are your optics set up correctly? Comms, movement, basic shit like that. You know, working with your buddies. Do you guys understand how to clear stuff correctly? And I think he makes a lot of really good points. I was just kind of curious, Woody, if you had any specific thoughts on that. Like, how were they at the game? Did you run into them a lot? You know?
Yeah. So, I had no idea he was going to be there. And then all of a sudden on Friday, I turned around and there him and I guess his brother or whoever and his friend is. And I was kind of like, oh, hey, there's Lucas. And I had met him before at Copperhead 2.5.
Yep.
Seems like a nice guy. No doubt the guy can shoot. And the guy shoots really well, shoots really fast. I think he makes some good points now and again. And so I never ran across him during the game.
They were on SD, weren't they?
They were running SD. So, again, I think, the guy shoots really well and shoots great on a flat range. And I think that's going to be the biggest argument about Lucas is you got guys that are flat rangers and you got guys that have kind of airsofters or vets or whoever that have. I think the biggest argument you're going to get from people are vets that have kind of said, hey, look, on a flat range you can kind of plan things out and you can shoot things a certain way. That's why I'm a big fan of like reflexive fire. Any chance that you can be on a flat range and do reflexive fire versus a setup, because I've shot IDPA in the past, I've shot USPSA in the past, I've shot 3-gun in the past. In every one of those events, you know what the order of targets are going to be, and combat you're not going to get that. So I think reflexive firing, shooting through a reflexive target array where someone's calling out certain targets, and you've got to identify that target and then shoot it. You got to mentally process all of that data.
Not to mention small squad tactics, comms, group movements, room clearing.
So so you get into Airsoft as a training tool. I think it can be used as that. If you're going to run that mentality, I don't think a milsim game or an Airsoft game on the weekend is going to train you, right? I think if you take if you take an Airsoft weapon and you put it into guys that are training in reality, right? SWAT team, National Guard, active duty. If they don't have simunitions, they can't afford simunitions. I think it's your next best force on force. But again, I wouldn't call going out to a milsim event as training.
Yeah, well, my take on it is there's a very fine line. There's a very distinct difference between training and practice. So if you go and get real training, pay the money, do the real courses, do stuff like the Ronin tactics, shit like that. Go learn how to shoot real steel, take the lessons you learned there and try to practice and apply them during gameplay when possible and when you can. I think that could be extremely effective. Even in
your backyard. Look, even in your backyard. I mean, you can take a GBBR rifle in your backyard and a gas blowback pistol, right?
Mhm.
And train everything that you would train real steel.
Yeah.
And I think
the thing about a gas blowback rifle is, it's going to operate exactly, have all the same manual of arms as a real steel weapon. So with COVID and everything that's going on, ammunition's getting harder and harder to get. I'm sure this is where you're wanting to go, Cole.
No, there are different tangent. I'm going to take this fucker on.
Yeah, so look, there are a ton of ways to train, even without when ammo becomes an issue. So, like for me and my son and my family, we have a Mantis. I think it's a great tool. They've got, I think Mantis just came out with their newest one. It's like the Mantis XS. I've had a Mantis for probably, God, I think I've got the first version of the Mantis.
You and Robo had like the first crack out of the box on those.
And so, I use a Mantis for dry fire practice. I use a Mantis with a laser. What is the name of that thing? Laser sight target. So it's a black square box with a red target on it, and it's got an on-off switch. And then you put what looks like a bullet with a red laser in the chamber. You've got to still, chamber around or
re-rack it every time.
Re-rack it every time. And so between the Mantis and the laser light targeting system, I've got a pretty good setup for dry fire in the house. Now, again, I've got a GBBR rifle and I've got a glass blowback pistol that I can take out in my backyard and I can do it outside. And then I take it one step further and I can go to the range. I've got a Adam's arm conversion slide for my Glock. And then I've got two of the CMMG 22 conversion bolts for my ARs. And then we have a couple, I have a couple 22, like P22 and SR22.
What were you about to say, Carl, a second ago?
Well, I was gonna say, coming back to Lucas, the thing that I watched like his video about talking about Iron Horse, he's like, I get it, like Lucas on camera is like a very, very serious guy, but like part of it that I was kind of like, the other side of Airsoft he doesn't see is a lot of it is about like being with your friends and like traveling these far distances to have fun. And like, I think he just takes it like really, really seriously from a training aspect, but I get like he's in the industry. That's what he's going to preach. I get that. But yeah, that was the other like kind of take I felt from watching his video. It's like, he understands the training side, but he doesn't see like the group of Airsoft side in the video about like having fun and like having good times, not during the game, but off the field too. You know what I mean?
So Punk's not here, but we've got two, or at least I've got two stages on the topic on this, because one of them that Punk brought up is, like Carl just brought up, he doesn't seem to understand the fun aspect of it. And I can see where like Punk mentioned this in our group chat of he's a little worried about like all of a sudden events getting flooded with fucking sweat lords who are going to take Airsoft way too fucking seriously and try to treat it like training and be like the big, loud, over the top. That's just as good as being in the military and derp, 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 derp. Meanwhile, everybody who just like wants to have fun in their hobby is like, oh, fuck no, go away. No.
Well, look, I mean, I did that to a degree. Look, when I got out of the Army in 2005, and I got into Airsoft in 2007, got out of it, got back into it around 2011 or so, got back out of it, got back into it in 2014. And I would say that, I think like when I kind of took over to run UFS, I came in with the wrong mindset, like it was all about, I want guys to do this, and this, and I expect this, and that's the wrong attitude. I mean, the bottom line is,
a lot of goddamn games that way, though.
Yeah,
we went on like a tear for like 2 years of just like
these guys paid for a ticket. They're here to have fun. They don't give a shit where you served, what you did. They don't give a fuck, right? And I get that, but and one of the reasons I left leadership in Airsoft was it was like I felt like I couldn't make anybody happy. You know, like some guys want to be yelled at and treated like they're in the Army, and you got other guys that want to be treated like they're special, right? And I just can't do that. Like I think if you ask most military guys, if you ask most military like prior service guys that are doing Airsoft, right? What happens when stuff like the plan starts to like Murphy gets in there, you know, and the plan starts to shift? We start reverting back to what we know, right? And what we know is we yell this, we yell that, we yell this, we yell that.
Well, so Brandon brings up,
and we expect guys to start doing exactly what we say. Well,
you know, with kids that are having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, half of them don't even know the acronyms that we're spilling out. I could sit there and go, "Hey, make sure you don't go past this LOA," and I can spell out all these acronyms, and they're like, half the time I don't realize that they're not getting half of what I'm saying.
So Brandon Wilbanks brings up the second prong of this specific slice of the topic I wanted to bring up was, he says, do you feel like it'll bring out a new airsoft event company if they do have a large following for serious airsofters? And so I want to clarify here. I want to clarify here. What I'm about to talk about, I'm not talking about like Milsim West, like a Milsim game. This is something that we've talked about and Corey has brought up, and we've had the idea behind. If you go back in some of our old episodes, we've discussed. I think this could possibly bring to the market a call for or a need for a use of airsoft in training style scenario events. And what I mean by that is I'm talking about a much smaller scale event, like 100 people split up into 5 to 10 man teams that will spend their weekend, instead of playing force on force games, playing a very specific strike scenario. Yeah. Guys that are reach and clear, VIP exit, with real professionals watching, observing, giving points, and then at the end doing a whole AO. So imagine just like the entire weekend is just one big fucking damn mission for like the super sweaties who want to like get their gear checked off and they want to have everything listed and it would cost a lot of money. But at the same time, I think there could be a real market for a very serious style like this. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, just join the fucking military. And like, yeah, I did that already, but this still sounds like fun to me.
Yeah. So I'll take that. I'll take it on. First, I want to shout out Will Banks, man. The kid's amazing with his photography. I appreciate him coming out to all the games.
Fantastic.
He makes a lot of us look a lot better than we are.
Did a really cool trailer for Iron Horse 3. That was, he said it was his first like time editing, and it looked money.
Bad shot photography,
something like that. Yeah, bad action shots.
Kid just he keeps outdoing himself game after game. So him and Fantaru, those are the two I know the best. They both do outstanding work. But as far as training stuff, look, I've talked to Corey a lot, and Carl. Carl always does great work. We all know that.
Thanks, guys.
And so one of my best, probably one of my favorites of yours is a slow-mo at Copperhead 5. I think you did that one. I can't remember if you did that one or if Punk did it with
one of us walking with. You see Cash.
Yeah, dude, it was dope. It was on point, man. I don't know what song you guys had on that, but it was spot on.
The walkout for Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. So, but as far as training, so it's funny that you bring it up. Soto from Overwatch Tactics and I and his crew were talking about it this past weekend. Corey and I have talked about it. What I'd like to do and what I like to do is actually help people get better with stuff. I mean, that was, my last job in the Army was training the National Guard as an ACRC guy. So, and then going back to Iraq, second time. But to train the National Guard over there. But, I think there is a space for like a training event
using airsoft instead of like
my idea would be, and I've bounced it off a lot of people. Look, if you can take a bunch of college students in ROTC and you can train them to go off and be, second lieutenants and platoon leaders in combat arms, right? There's no reason that we can't take airsoft. And we were using dummy, like rubber ducky, the old plastic M16s and going bang, 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 bang. And we were using miles. So if you can do it with that, you can do it with airsoft. And my whole idea would be that you take in. I've talked to Jake or Luke from Real Sim, and his idea was kind of the same as is you do a round robin, right? I don't care what day, Friday night, Saturday morning, you do a round robin and you do that, and you can do a 101 class or a 101 event, and then you do a 201 event and a 301 event. 101 would be easy stuff. Like one class would be actions on contact, right? How do you deal with a near ambush? How do you deal with a far ambush? Indirect fire, we don't have that in airsoft unless you go to certain events, but you could talk about actions on contact with indirect fire, and so you could do a whole class on that. Then you could do a whole class on patrolling, where we're talking about hand and arm signals and how to go from a file. What do you do from, a file into a herringbone formation into online support by fire into a flank, right?
Now, the only thing with this, I think, that would need to be done is if you're going to do it, just is just me, spitballing. But in order to make this still something that would appeal to, like, because you're not going to get a bunch of kids that want to learn how to do fucking movement drills in a field. But if you do the class and then have them run the scenario and have them linked directly in and overseen by real professionals, real professionals, not your Uncle fucking Jimbo who said he was fucking dicking down. Who was dicking down Noriega's wife while hunting Pablo Escobar in Medellin in the 80s, when actually he was mopping up fucking turtle shit in Corpus Christi. Like, I don't want to hear. I don't want.
No.
You know what you're doing, and like do actual training classes. But then, like, once you're done teaching them, let them implement it in a very, and this is something that Corey like always stressed on, is like a really immersive experience, like the damn mission, and let them test out the shit they learned.
Yeah, you didn't give me a chance to finish, Cole. You got to stick my thunder.
Damn it, Cole.
So you do the round robin classes, like I said, whether it be Friday night going into Saturday morning, like, again, you could do actions on contact, patrolling, buddy bounding, team bounding, whatever, right? And then our big thing in our ROTC was we did, the sticks lane. So you'd take a 400 to 600 to 800 meter lane, right? And you could do a movement to contact. You could do a reconnaissance mission. You could do, I think part of that too, though, is when you go back to the round robin, I think you have a big open field where you have demonstrators show what right looks like, right?
Yeah.
You got to see it.
You got to show them what's right and what's wrong.
Right. So that's how look, the army of the 90s that I grew up in, right? That's how we learn. They always come out and say, now, this is the task condition standard. Now pay attention to my demonstrators. And next thing you know, here comes the 9th Infantry Regiment Manchu at Fort Washington or Fort Lewis, Washington, come running out of the wood line, and in a big open field, they would demonstrate exactly what you're going to do, right? And then they would bust it down from there, and they'd go into the class, and they teach you the class. And then, oh, by the way, guess what you're going to do at the end of it? You're going to actually run a lane, right, where you utilize the tools or the learning that you just did, right? Crazy concept, I know.
Yeah. Well, and you make it an actual challenging experience too, because like what does everybody want? Like, nobody wants to train, like just train basics. Everybody wants to do like a simulated fucking Osama raid.
So then on Sunday, right, the culminating event would be a damn mission on Sunday, where again, I think the problem with damn missions in the past is event organizers that said, okay, all of the people are going to be the leadership team for the damn mission. Well, there's two ways you can do it, right? You can either you can have all of the people that are coming together, right, as the airsoft players, be the leadership for the damn mission. But if you're going to do that, you need to have an observer controller, an OC, walking alongside them, right? So if they start to even veer off course a little bit, whether it be metaphorically or literally, like we're heading to a building, right? We're supposed to go to building 1, and they all of a sudden start going like this, right? That OC, which I used to do at Fort Hood for guys fixing to go to Iraq and Afghanistan after I got back, I'd go, hey, we might want to do a map check. We might want to do a pace count check. We might want to do something just to alert them to the fact that they're going off course, right?
There's a video I was actually watching the other day of, I want to say it was Ford Observations Group. We're teaching a bunch of like sheriff and SWAT guys, and you can see like they're walking through, they're doing the motions, and the guy's videotaping. He's talking. He's like bunching up, didn't clear a doorway, and he's talking to himself and speaking out loud while recording. And then after the fact, they're going over and explaining them what they did wrong and why they did it wrong and what they should do in the future. And then they ran it again.
Typically, an OC, an observer controller, shouldn't get involved unless shit's just going way off course, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the OC is going to sit there and he's going to take his notes, right? So let's go back to the damn mission at Copperhead last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they're walking along with this. I'm making mental notes for the AAR, the after action review, but it, the way I would have done it differently, I would have been like, at a couple points they had kind of strayed way too far off course or wasn't meeting their timelines, and I would have stopped, done a tactical pause, and said, hey, we're either falling way behind time schedule here, or we're getting way off course. We need to let's do a quick map check, find out where we're at, and let's and going in the right direction, right?
What we're talking about is that damn mission would be the entire event. So like Friday would be gear, getting set up, doing briefings. Saturday you would be running drills and getting used to it and getting set. And then Sunday you would do it live.
Yeah,
it's kind of the idea. And that's we're kind of getting short on time here, but that's something that I think this idea could bring about.
It's very doable. It's just getting the right cadre on board. I've offered myself up to anybody that wants to do something like that. If you need someone to teach a class, I'd be glad to do it. You want someone to OC, observe, control, and then do AAR afterwards, I'd be glad to do it. I don't care, right? We're getting to the point now where there are a lot of these older guys getting out of the hobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no one's teaching these younger kids what right looks like, and so that needs to change. And so I see a lot of these players that tout all this shit right on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm like, okay, well that's great, right? But if you're not helping those players that are coming on board, then you're not doing the right thing, right? So, just like in the military, we always said at this level, you should always be learning the next job above you, right? The next level up. We should, as the older guys in Airsoft, be teaching these younger kids, because a lot of kids nowadays aren't going to ask, right? I mean, the difference in my generation and the millennial generation is, I would have gone to somebody in a very humble way and said, hey, I really want to learn how to do this. Could you teach me? Right? What I found with millennial generation is they don't really they've never been taught how to do that. And a lot of times they already think they know what they're doing, right? Because they think they've experienced it on a game they played or whatever, but then when they go out to do it, they fail miserably, and they're willing to continue to fail miserably, as opposed to actually humbly coming up and saying, hey, will you please teach me how to do this right?
Well, so Tim Green brings up a point that I just put up on the screen, and this is the last kind of like the blowback of some of this Lucas T-Rex arm stuff, because I've been in those comment sections. Yeah, and those comment sections have been interesting. And there's one thing that I think will be crucial to making this influx into Airsoft work, be it 2A people, be it people who want to get into real training, any of that, is the airsoft community is extremely, extremely, extremely adverse to people coming in and acting like they run this bitch. As a couple of promotions have found out, one of them very fucking recently found out that if you come into airsoft and you act like you got a big fat dick and you're going to hit everybody in the face with it, we're going to duck. We're going to punch you square in the bottom of your ball sack, and we're going to keep on moving. The airsofters do not take kindly to people coming in and bigling at them and this, you could have the best intentions at heart. You could be the real professional guy, but the problem is attitude coming into something like this. If you don't come in and want to actually have fun in the sport, if you just want to come in here and act like you're God's gift to tactical training and that everyone needs to shut up and listen to what you have to do, no one's going to pay attention to you, even if you have something good to say. Yep. It's an unfortunate side effect of the community, and I'm really hoping, and it looks like from watching his videos, that's not what Lucas is trying to do. I know a lot of people have tried to say that's like what he's getting at, and I don't think that's it. I think he really is coming at it with an open mind and wants to make it a real thing, and that's a really cool thing to see, and I think that's going to be crucial with that moving forward.
I think one of the biggest things I learned from getting back into airsoft this last time and having ran leadership was, early on, I wanted to do exactly that. I'm like, hey, look, I've been in the shit. I've been in the real shit. This is what it's like. This is what you got to do to be successful, right? The other thing you got to realize is that these are people that have paid money to come and have a good time, right? So the other part of that is, what I've learned is I'm not going to, what I did originally or what I did initially was I'd come up and I'd be like, hey, you need to do it this way, right? You're pieing this corner, but you're not transitioning to your support side, right? And that's going to get you killed. And kids aren't going to listen to that. They're going to be like, I got some old guy with gray hair telling me what to do.
Well, a lot of them need to understand that a lot of these kids just don't care. They're there to have fun. They could give a shit less. If that's the case, don't let it bother you. Let them keep getting shot in the face. Whatever.
Look, the thing I learned was, getting to go down to John Gugel's field and, Zero Customs down there to DFWAP was I finally, I don't know, I had an epiphany, I guess you want to say. I finally was like, and I've posted this video a couple times. I'll post it again on Instagram here in a few days or whatever. But I run up, I see this kid struggling, and he's not transitioning. He's trying to pie. And I'm like, hey, maybe, can I suggest something to you? And kids, it's like kids these days, they take a whole different approach to that.
Yeah.
Can I suggest something to you? Would it make sense?
Have you tried? Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you say it.
If you come up and say, you got to do it this way, they're instantly not going to listen to you. They're going to shut off and they're going to go somewhere else. The ones that, luckily that I found, and, again, I do medical sales. So, part of it is learning this, talking to people and being able to
interact with them.
Yeah. What I found is I found that with a lot of these kids these days, if I just sit there and go, hey, can I suggest something to you real quick? And they're like, yeah, what? And I'm like, if you just transition over to this side and then you pie the corner, there's not a chance of you getting so much of your body shot or less chance of even getting shot. If you would try, would it make sense to maybe try it this way, or, even to the point, well, how'd that go? On the first run, I've done that before. We've, the kids all get together and they go, I want to be the leader. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And we go in there and in 5 minutes we're dead.
Well, and
back and I go, hey, let me ask you a question. How'd that go?
A big part too is
do you like losing? And they go, no. And I said, would you mind me suggesting something?
Yeah.
Well, I've got their ears. They're like, what?
They're saying in the comment section, like Milsim, walk-ons, walk-on. And the big part of that is read the room, understand your role, and know where you're at. If you're at a Milsim West game, it's a different animal than if you're out just at your local field fucking around. And treat it as what it is. It's a completely different scenario. It's a different situation. Certain things will work a certain way. Certain things won't work a certain way. Don't expect the 12-year-old rental kid with a mask to understand what that you're trying to get him to bound to an objective. Like, he's not going to get that shit. Maybe try to explain it to him. If he doesn't get it, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Just have fun with it. Let him have fun with it. Don't ruin his fun because he's not doing it the way you want him to do.
Well, and a lot of the guys that run leadership here lately, we've talked about it, and we're like, the best thing you can do is if you get tagged or, you're asked to be a squad leader and you want to step up into that position. First off, I would say before any kid goes home and goes, oh, my leadership didn't know what the fuck they were doing. All right, kid, you need to shut the fuck up. Here's what I would tell you. When you think you're ready to step up into that position, then do it. I've offered up to many kids. I see kids all the time, back when I was leading UFS or even unit, and I see them, pissed off on the side of the road. I saw one kid at one game shooting a fucking UFS patch. I remember that. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, fucking shit sucks and this sucks. And I'm like, okay, I'm the XO. What can I help you with? Well, if I was in charge, well, come on, let's go. You want to be in charge? Let's go.
Yeah.
Right now. And he's like, well, and I said, no, you basically just hesitated. And in that chance, what I would tell you is the leader that hesitates is the leader that's going to get more and more people killed, right? So you hesitated. I said, do you want to be a leader? Well, no, you hesitated again. I'll tell you what, I'll do one better for you. The next AMS event you come to, you DM me and you let me know that you're ready to be a leader, and I'll put you in a leadership position. Well, that's not. No, you hesitated again, right? So a lot of these people that sit there and they say, "Well, my leadership sucked." These are the people that
a lot of kids just want to be mad so they can be mad.
They want to be mad at something, and they don't know what to be mad at. So what are they going to do? They're going to pick the closest thing to them. That's their leadership. You got to remember, these guys are guys that have volunteered their time. A lot of times in my case, I always had my leaders do at least 2 or 3 Zoom or virtual calls prior to the event. They put in time doing maps and map work and map reconnaissance. I mean, anybody that's ever been under my leadership knows that you're going to do some work, right? You're going to do emails. You're going to do all this to make sure your guys are ready to go. So that's one thing. The other thing I would tell you is, as a leader, right? If you get picked to be a leader or if you want to be a leader, the first thing I would do is on my email, my first initial email to them go, hey, look, I know everybody's here for a different reason, right? We all have different expectations of this game. We've paid for a ticket that's somewhat expensive. Games, I mean, look, a game's going to cost you probably $500 at a minimum, right? Out of pocket. By the time you pay for the ticket,
travel,
fuel, food, lodging, however you're staying, BBs, all that shit.
At the end of the day, everybody spent an obscene amount of money to play dress up.
Yeah, I think the first thing the leader needs to ask his people is, what is your game style and how do you want to play? If you just want to go off and do your own fucking thing, then you know what? Godspeed. I'm going to let you go do your own thing. And that way the leader then can determine what his real combat power is, right? Because we all know as soon as that combat power percentage starts going down, the mission, the missions that we're capable of doing is going down. So like if I'm at 100%, right, as a squad leader, I have 10 guys and I know 2 of them want to go off and masturbate each other off in the woods or shoot other, and I don't know if I can even say that on here, shoot other people.
You can say whatever the fuck you want on here, baby.
Go fucking play Call of Duty. Then you go, you know what? Tom and Harry fucking go, at game start, go do whatever you're going to do. And that way I don't ever have to worry about you again. I don't have to worry about where you're at, what you're doing. And I can focus on this 75% of my combat power that I know that wants to learn, wants to play as a team, as a cohesive unit, right? Yeah. Because we all know that's how you win a Milsim game.
Well, speaking of wandering off, we've completely taken a left turn off the topic, and we're actually out of time. Carl, for For the love of God, I know you've been trying to get a word in for like 10 minutes.
Oh, I was just gonna say that one thing that Lucas really did agree is like, if the outside community actually takes Airsoft more seriously, you're gonna see big ass companies start showing up to games. Yep, and that would be great for the Airsoft community, right? So
yeah,
if you want to like goof off and hang out with your friends and do stuff, that's fine. But also know that you're part of something that's bigger. So just remember that. Like at the end of the day, if we want people to take Airsoft seriously and for it to grow for like a real thing, it's like, yeah, you can have fun and have your friends, just be smart about it. And let's try to advertise to these bigger companies actually coming out to games. And I thought Lucas made a good point on that.
And as we've learned, there's very specific ways if you want to grow the hobby, because a lot of people just want to have fun. Punk specifically is one of those people. I'm kind of in the same boat as he is. I really, really, really don't want to see Airsoft just completely absorbed by the rah yee dipshit 2A community. Like some of the louder subsection of it that are just disgusting and toxic as Airsofters are. And then I also don't want to see a bunch of toxic Airsoft people drive out any chance for growth. Yeah. That being said, sometimes it works in our favor because sometimes ideas come around or groups come around or companies, organizations come around that want to take and abuse the hobby and try to turn it into something that's more marketable or something that will make money. Yeah. When at the end of the day, Airsoft is supposed to be for everybody to have a good time.
Last time I checked, it is a hobby.
Yeah.
It's not a sport, right? We always talk about Airsoft community.
Different sex for.
Here's the thing. Last time I've seen a community doesn't attack one another, right? We don't we don't troll each other on the internet. We don't sit there and make fun of other people. I don't give a shit what you show up in. If you want to play in a fucking onesie with a plate carrier and a fucking BB gun, if you can sling BBs, then I'll take it and I'll find something for you to do, right? We get hung up on gear, how much money you got spent in your gear, how much money you got spent in your gun build. There's too many people that are willing to tear one another down, right? And we see it in society. I'm not even going to go that far, but
we don't have time for that.
The hobby itself is I've always said that Airsoft's biggest problem is itself. Right? Because everybody wants to shit on everybody. I don't care if you do speed QB. I don't care if you do mill speed. I don't care if you do mill sim. I don't care if you do 44-hour mills. I don't give a fuck. Right? We're all doing the same thing. We're firing a plastic fucking white BB at somebody.
We all paid an obscene amount of money to play dress up.
It's ridiculous.
End of the day, the only difference between us and guys who go to medieval LARPs is we're not yelling lightning bolt, we're yelling airstrike. Yeah. Like same shit. Everybody have a good time. For the love of God, we're over our time. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I gotta cut this shit off at some point, otherwise we'll be in here for 5 hours with Woody.
Have fun with it. It's Airsoft. It's a game, but you can learn something from it. Yep. There's a lot of lessons learned for life that you can take away from this hobby.
Right? We do highly recommend you go check out all the sponsors that we mentioned: KWA, Overwatch Tactics, Enola Gay, Airsoft. Also, check out Speed QB. They got a bunch of really cool shit that's come out recently. And go give, for reference, this Lucas T-Rex Arms video on Airsoft a shot. I think he says a lot of stuff that makes sense. I think it's, at the very least, it's worth the listen. Even if you don't agree with somebody, listen to what they fucking have to say, because they might change your mind. It's 2021. Everybody stop being such cunts. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.